Hi there, I'd like to introduce Catherine Vanderhagen. She's our Tuesday volunteer. She's been volunteering with us for 6 years, something like that. Every Tuesday she shows up, we look forward to working with Catherine. And today we're going to talk to Catherine about our flow hive. This is a hive that was donated to us by the company Flow. We got to know them at in Montreal a couple years ago. And they offered this to us for demonstration purposes. And I've tried to keep my mind open about this flow hive method. When they first came out, I thought, well, a really cool idea that you could actually turn a crank and open up the cells and harvest honey. We often joke to people when they ask us how we harvest honey that we just turn on the tap inside the hive. But they made that a reality. Pretty cool. There was a lot of controversy when they first came out because beekeepers were really adamantly opposed to that change. But we've kind of mind open, and I feel it has a place for some beekeepers for sure. So Catherine's going to talk about that a bit more. So,
well, you have to admit, Paul, being a woodworker, that it's the most beautiful hive around.
That's true. It is very beautiful. They got the fit perfectly. It's all laser cut. And we've got that nice natural looking finish on it there as well. And that's just basic, right?
Yeah, this is the full.
So we got one bird chamber. This is their 10 frame version. So you can fit 10 standard length frames in that bottom. And then the top box here is the Flow honey soup. So they only get one because you can harvest honey fairly frequently. So let's just talk over a little bit about some of the pros and cons here. One con is obviously price. They are pretty expensive.
That's true. It is expensive to start, but if you're a startup beekeeper and you're only going to have 2 or 4 hives, it eliminates all extracting equipment. Right. So that's quite cost undertaken as well.
Yeah, it's the small scale costs $1,000 to get yourself set up with extracting equipment. And you don't need any.
That's right. And a lot of the clubs will allow you to use their equipment, but then you're scheduling and everyone wants to use it at the same time. Yeah. This way, you can go out and you can harvest when you're ready, and also you don't have to wait for the entire thing to be full. Another one of the pros to it, if you're checking the center one is full, if you know that they've been collecting clover, you'll get a couple tastes of honey. So one year I did 7 different rods, and for Christmas I gave everybody the jars of the 7 different flavors, and people believe they came from one flow hive.
Right. So like a flake.
A flake of honey. Very very exciting. They introduced young people to the growth of bees, and they got quite excited about learning more about bees and beekeeping and
connection with different flowers and seasons and so on. Yeah. Like in our area, we typically harvest honey at the end of July and in the middle of September. So we have 2 months of honey. They taste different years to some degree, but do it this way you get all those individual flavors through the year. So let's talk over about ripening honey. So you and I have lots of conversations about ripening the honey. And what because it's different. When we harvest honey by box, we can take it into a hot room and we can draw moisture level down artificially if need be. But you don't have that option since you're not taking this into a hot room.
That's correct. The way that the full hive is set up to work is that first they'll finish drying out the comb, and then they'll fill it with honey, and they won't cap it until it's at the right amount. So before you take any honey, you always check the frame and make sure that it's fully capped on both sides.
Right.
If you look at the windows on either side, if you pull one of these off and you open it up and you see that it's capped all the way to the outside, then pretty much your entire flow hive is ready to go because they start from the center and work towards the outside.
But whenever you're harvesting, you open up another
Always,
container, right?
always.
Yeah. Just to be sure when you're harvesting, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, there's only one super. Do you find that gives bees enough space?
If you're on a really big year, it can be difficult. I've had yearling right outside the entire hive. Some people in places will put on an extra super and they'll leave that for the bees.
So an extra flow super?
No,
or
just
a
shallow, and they'll put that on just to give them a little bit extra space when there's honey.
Right. Well, we find we can literally space successfully with one brood chamber, so that part's not an issue.
No, I've not had any trouble with it.
I know at the beginning some people bought these thinking that they would have very little bee management and they would just harvest honey. And that's where a lot of seasoned beekeepers got kind of concerned because obviously you still have to manage your hive. So talk about the where that advantage is and what has to be decided.
Right. So when they created this, they're beekeepers, and they expected this little video to be appealing to beekeepers.
The one that they
produced. And so they expected that these beekeepers were already doing the responsible beekeeping. It went viral. It went so fast and so big and so fast for them that the general public started watching it, thinking, hey, I can have one of these in my backyard and go get fresh air honey whenever I want it. That was never their intention. Right. And as soon as they realized that happened, I had one of the original flow hives, and there were multiple sheets in all of the packaging saying that they absolutely promote responsible beekeeping first and foremost. And this has actually worked out well because if you get older or if you're not as strong, you can time when you go in and do your test so that if you take your honey, this is now an empty box. And so to get off and into the brood chamber is not a problem.
Okay, so you can actually harvest, get the weight down, then take that off,
exactly.
and do your work within the brood chamber. And some important things obviously are going to be disease control, monitoring to see whether there's disease in your colonies or not, looking for swarming behavior to try and eliminate that, and requeening colonies where need be. So all the standard kind of management that's done in the spring and fall of the year.
Absolutely.
You can still do.
And they expect you to do it. You know, they absolutely say, the first thing they say is take it, and they expect that in your mice, they still have the place at the back that you can put your beakers in. Right. They expect full hands-on bee management.
Right.
The only thing is that it's an alternative for extracting.
Right.
And it makes it very convenient, and it does disrupt the bees less.
Right. So Catherine, let's talk over why we think this 10 frame version is the appropriate choice for our area.
Right. The initial one was the set up to match the 8 frame brood chamber, but in North America almost everything is 10 frame. And so they came out with a second version, and it has it matches in lines out, so it's not a problem for the bees to for the overwintering rats, for the frames, for everything fits quite nicely and easily. So you really can take any kind of a standard brood chamber and just get the flow hive super.
Right. And it's standard
yeah.
never.
And you would be able to just put that on the hive.
Right. Now, one issue I have is I like to set the smoker on high. That's a little more challenging on this one here. But that's my point.
We're going to talk about extracting some honey from the flow hive. And if you want to check and see if the whole hive is ready, these windows are very convenient on the side. You can see the bees in here, and if you look closely between, all of that honey is capped. And when the honey is capped, it's ready to be taken. If the outside frames are full, most likely all of the frames will be full. So we're going to make that assumption, and we'll go ahead and take what honey we wanted from this hive. If we were just going to look to take one frame worth of honey, because let's say we were going to collect what we think is mostly clover honey, we would take the lid off. We would take the inner cover off. And we would check to make sure that the frame that you're looking at taking is in fact capped. So by removing the backboard here, usually they start from the center and come out. You can lift this one out. And take a look at this frame, and you can see that this is not your standard frame, this is a flow hive frame, and that the honey is capped on both sides. So that one would be ready to take. That's as much disturbing of the bees that we would have to do. You can put your inner cover back on. And then what you do is come to the back. It's important that the flow hive is kept in a slightly tipped towards the back position. In the deluxe model with the stand, there's a level here, and it's set so that if the bubble is in between, it's tipped to the right amount back. It's like 2.5 to 3 degrees. Then there's another level at the back that moves, makes the adjustments side to side, and they're just self-adjusting feet. So you take this back off. Some of the tips that I've learned about extracting is picking just in your day is important. The warmer the day, the easier the honey flows, the quicker it is. You definitely don't want to be doing it on any days that it's raining because rain will get right into honey. It's good to have, I always have a wet tea towel or a little bucket of water just to keep your hands in anything that gets sticky, a chance to keep that clean. I bring out a piece of handy wrap or gauze to put over top in case it's a time where there's robbing going on. That will eliminate it. You always have your smoker. If you have your smoker just wafting around, it keeps the bees away, they don't smell the honey so much. And sometimes these, when they're first new, can be really stiff. This has to come out because that's where the key goes, and this is where the tube goes, so those can be stiff as well. So needle nose pliers can work to twist and get those out easily. Make sure you have enough jars and lids so that you can put the lid on the honey as soon as it's filled. An alternative to doing it by jars is that some people will take the connections here and hook it up to clear tubing to one big tube that goes into a pail that has been cut out, and so there's no exposure of honey, so there's no chance of rotting. We're going to go ahead and take this middle frame of honey. You can see here that this is all completely full. We'll remove this part. The key will go in to the bottom. Another tip is, on a warm day, not to put the key all the way in and turn it, because all the honey can flow, it can overflow and flow down into the brood chamber. I found that if I put it part way in and turn it and then continue opening it afterwards, when you're putting this collection tube in, this part has to go in at the bottom to make it see. Okay. Then we'll just turn this, and it can be stiff. And you'll see here that the comb has opened, and the honey is starting to come in. If there's any chance of robbing, you can cover it with a cloth, or you can cover it with a piece of thin wrap or gauze. And you can see that that's as disturbed as the bees get for taking honey. So that's pretty nice. You can do multiple jars at one time if you have a shelf. And when you're done, when the honey is just trickling out, when you put the bee in the top slot here, and you have to make sure that it goes all the way to the back. And then you rotate it. And that closes the comb so that it's in the right position for the bees to fill in. And then you just wait for the honey to stop dripping and be sure to put your top back in. And it will only fit in if it's in the right position with that knob fitting over top of the piece of plastic there. Another really good trick is to have your smoker setting just in behind here. And when the wind is calm, it just wafts up around the back and keeps the bees not interested because they don't smell the honey flowing out the back of the hive. It's another good trick.
Thank you very much, Catherine, for sharing all that useful information about these beautiful flow hives. I think it's absolutely fantastic. They go start to finish and have a beautiful drawing with that in your hands this same afternoon. So we talked over some of the pros and cons, give you some tips on how to use these. It seems to me they have a place for beekeepers at a small scale level, maybe not for commercial use. What would you think, Catherine?
I agree, absolutely. It doesn't change responsible beekeeping. It just changes the extracting process.
Right. Okay. So thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on social media. See you next time.